Some adventures change your life, others almost end it. For 26-year-old Ethan Parker, a simple camping trip became the greatest survival battle he would ever face. It began on a breathtaking stretch of America's coastline, where golden sand met the crashing waves of the ocean and a winding river emptied into the sea. It looked peaceful, almost magical, but beneath those calm waters, death waited patiently. Ethan wasn't an ordinary camper. He lived for adventure. The more dangerous the challenge, the more alive he felt. Armed with only a backpack, a tent, a fishing rod, and years of survival experience, he set out to spend 3 days alone in the wilderness. The first 2 days were everything he had hoped for. He built a shelter, started a fire, caught fish, watched the stars. Every sunrise reminded him why he loved nature. But sometimes, nature reminds us who is really in control. On the third morning, Ethan walked to a quiet bend in the nearby river where fish gathered before entering the ocean. The water was calm, crystal clear near the shore, and the silence felt almost unreal. He cast his fishing line, then waited. Minutes passed, not a sound, not a ripple. What Ethan couldn't see was a massive saltwater crocodile lying completely still beneath the muddy water, silently watching him, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Then, the river exploded. Without warning, the giant predator burst from the water with unbelievable speed. Its enormous jaws slammed onto Ethan's leg with crushing force. He was thrown off the rock and dragged violently into the river. Water and mud flew everywhere. The crocodile twisted with terrifying power, trying to perform its deadly death roll. Pain shot through Ethan's body. He knew exactly what the crocodile wanted. If it pulled him into deeper water, he wouldn't come back alive. Fear rushed into his mind, but training took over. Instead of fighting the crocodile's strength, Ethan moved with its rotation, reducing the force on his trapped leg. As they struggled in the shallow water, he spotted a thick piece of driftwood floating beside him. With one desperate movement, he shoved the branch sideways into the crocodile's jaws. For a split second, the powerful bite weakened. Ethan immediately drove his fingers toward the crocodile's sensitive eyes. The giant reptile jerked backward. That single second changed everything. Using every ounce of strength left in his body, Ethan ripped his torn leg free and crawled toward the riverbank. Behind him, the crocodile lunged again. Its jaws snapped shut only inches from his feet. One mistake, 1 second slower, and the story would have ended there. Ignoring the unbearable pain, Ethan forced himself through thick reeds and onto dry ground. The crocodile stopped at the edge of the river, watching, waiting, as if disappointed that its prey had escaped. Save for the moment, Ethan collapsed beneath a group of trees. Blood poured from the deep wounds on his leg. He knew he had only minutes before blood loss and shock became just as dangerous as the attack itself. His survival instincts kicked in once again. He tore his shirt into strips and tied a tight bandage above the wound. He cleaned the injury with the water he had purified earlier and wrapped it with the supplies from his first aid kit. Then came the hardest challenge of all: walking. Every step felt like fire. Every breath demanded courage. But Ethan refused to quit. Using a thick branch as a crutch, he painfully made his way toward the open beach. The hot sun burned overhead. Hours passed. His vision blurred. His strength faded. Still, he kept moving. One more step, then another. Just when hope was beginning to disappear, he spotted something on the horizon. A small fishing boat. Summoning the last of his strength, Ethan grabbed his bright orange emergency tarp and waved it high above his head. At first, nothing happened. Then one of the fishermen saw the flash of orange. The boat turned. It raced toward shore. Within minutes, Ethan was safely aboard. The crew radioed emergency services as they sped toward the nearest marina. Doctors later told him something he would never forget. If help had arrived only 30 minutes later, he likely would not have survived. Months later, Ethan returned home with scars that would stay with him forever. But those scars became symbols of something greater than survival. They reminded him that courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is choosing to fight when every part of you wants to give up. Because the strongest people aren't those who never face impossible battles. They're the ones who refuse to surrender. And sometimes, surviving is the greatest adventure of all.